Hey guys, Todd Derry here, TD's Fat to Fit. This is chapter 3 of my metabolic disease and metabolic dysfunction series. We're going to discuss calories in, calories out, the issues of the law of thermodynamics as it applies to the body. It's too simplistic and why I believe that. Also, what works, what has worked for me, how I've cured Crohn's disease, how I've cured non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, how I've fixed my metabolism, and basically become healthier, losing 120 pounds, losing 60 pounds, losing a lot of weight over my life and a lot of weight over many other people's lives and my clients' lives and such using this strategy. Also, a deep dive on fat metabolism. What is the truth? Do you die of a heart attack when you eat too much saturated fat or not? What is the science? What's the belief? What's the truth? And I get into really specifics on what the body does with saturated fat when you eat it. What does bodybuilding tell us? And then conclusion, my thoughts on the entire process, the strategies of law of thermodynamics, the obesity model, and what has worked in my life and how I've applied it, what it actually can do for you, and how it can improve your life and your health. So let's get into it. Calories in, calories out. In short term, it does work, but it doesn't fix your metabolism. It's oversimplifying the incredible complex of the human body, influenced by genes and epigenetic modulation, hormones, stress, just to name a few. This all implies that calories are not equal. If I ate 1,000 calories of Oreos or 1,000 calories of steak, what would be the difference? If calories in, calories out was accurate, there would be no difference. But we both know that of course there's a difference. If I eat steak compared to Oreos, number one, I'm never going to stop eating Oreos. And number two, protein is totally different from a carbohydrate. The processes and the signaling that occurs afterwards is dramatically different. And to say that they're the same is ridiculous. A calorie is not a calorie, and calorie in, calorie out, it doesn't work. Hormones are the reason why. Hormone and the hormone signaling based on what you're eating then derives the reaction, whether it's going to be increased blood sugar or deposited as glycogen, and then in protein's case, muscle rebuilding and cell repair. Calorie in, calorie out, or the law of thermodynamics, isn't correct. In the interim, in the short term, sure, you lose some weight, but you always gain it back. And you're not fixing your metabolism. Why? Because of hormones, dysregulated mitochondria, increased estrogen from the fat deposition, all the things that took you 20 years to break, you can't fix with a quick calorie deficit. And you can't fix it all if you continue to eat carbohydrates. Again, why? Hormones. Your body knows when to shut off hunger, but when you eat carbs, your hormones signal to eat more carbs continuously. And that's why you can eat Oreos and then order a pizza afterwards and then have more Oreos for dessert. All of this, again, is driven by hormones, leptin and ghrelin. Ghrelin is your hunger hormone and leptin is your full hormone. In addition, just doing more exercise also won't work. As we saw earlier, you can only influence your exercise activity thermogenesis by about 4%. But let's say you just live in the gym, you're not fixing your metabolism by working out constantly, because that's going to signal for your system to make you hungry and make you eat more. And then on top of that, you're not chemically changing hormones in the body by continuously eating the same foods. So your broken metabolism is going to stay broken, as it was for me. Yeah, sure, I was still working out, but I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't getting anywhere or getting closer to my goal. This also is kind of an anecdotal situation, but why, when I was 17, I was still chubby as a kid, but I was working out all the time. I was competing in bodybuilding. I would lose a ton of weight for a show. And in one day, I would gain it all back. So let's say I lost 35 pounds for a show. One day later, say the show was Saturday, Monday morning, I was 28 pounds heavier. If that's not a hormonal response, I don't know what is. My next show, I was even worse. I gained 34 pounds in 24 hours. My skin hurt for a month. And that's why I still have PTSD to this day. That's why I always think if I eat something wrong or bad, I'm going to lose my abs overnight. But I've fixed my metabolism so dramatically that I can eat kind of whatever I want now. And I'm still around 12% body fat. My abs are good. I see no matter what I eat, I'm all set. Back then, I'd eat one bad meal and my body would change overnight. Certainly 28 pounds in 24 hours, ridiculous. That's a rebound right there. And that's hormone Regulat. What will fix your metabolism? Stop eating highly processed foods that are rich in carbohydrates. Anything that has more than several ingredients, don't eat it. Eat a whole food, high in protein, moderate fats, or even high in fats, whatever, to your heart's content. You can eat as much as you want. Just stop eating carbohydrate rich foods. It's simple as that. When I did my diet or do my diet today, I'm only concerned with protein. How big do I want to be? 250 pounds, 260 pounds. I eat the amount of protein that I need to sustain or grow to that size. And however much fat comes along with it, awesome, perfect. And I add some butter here and there too, or olive oil or macadamia oil to cook with. So if I eat cheese, it's 50-50. So if whatever I'm eating, if it's half protein, half fat, so be it. Because whatever I eat, I can eat all day long. I can eat as much as I want. I'm never hungry. And that's when I say you can eat as much as I want. You're never hungry. You have to remind yourself to eat. And that's the beauty. Because when you eat carbohydrates, you're always hungry and you can overconsume like crazy. And that's why you can eat a pizza and then have more pizza half an hour later and then a stack of Oreos right afterwards for dessert. It's crazy. Again, stop eating carbohydrate foods that raise your glycogen, raise your glucose. Eat real food, single ingredient foods, eggs, cheese, pork, butter, steak, macadamia nuts. I eat cashews, almonds, salads. I eat, what I call a big ass salad. It's got everything in it. I can't think of. I just put a ton of stuff: bacon and ham and cheese and nuts and avocados and you name it. It's in that salad. It's awesome. I usually can't. I usually celebrate when I finish it because I usually can't finish it. You get to the point where you're just like, oh, I'm done. Can't eat it. Sometimes when I finish, I'm like, yes, I finished it. All right. Silly. But it's an amazing feeling when you get to the point of having to be this healthy person. And then you can eat anything you want when when you're out or you go to a restaurant. I don't care what I eat. I'll eat whatever I want. And it doesn't affect me from day to day. I want to do a deep dive on fat metabolism. Why is it that when they told us in the 80s, fat creates fat, why doesn't that happen? Why isn't it the case that fat that you eat doesn't translate into fat on the body? Again, 2014, the FDA removed fat from the nutrient of concern list. So cholesterol and saturated fat no longer are a nutrient of concern through the FDA, stating that there's no more causation or correlation between fat, cholesterol, and heart disease or stroke. Pro-inflammatory, high processed foods rich in carbohydrates does increase your heart disease risk. The whole point of the cholesterol heart hypothesis came about in 1958. You may have heard the story. Ansel Keys, trying to find the cause of heart disease, had a hypothesis stating that saturated fat was the cause. He started his study with 22 countries, 22 European countries. And as he developed the data and looked and analyzed all of the data from all the countries, he saw that 2/3 of the data didn't correlate to his hypothesis. So did he refine his hypothesis? Did he change his thoughts? No. He was paid off by the sugar industry for about $50,000, and he removed 2/3 of the countries, and all of a sudden published the 7-country study and landed himself on the cover of Time magazine as the hero and the researcher that found the cause of disease, saturated fats. And here we are, 50 years later, still talking about saturated fat causes heart disease. I hear it literally yesterday. Oh, eating too much fat, you're going to get a heart attack. No, you're not. Stop. Do some study, read some literature, and you will see otherwise. Fat like protein is used in the body for thousands of processes: cellular repair, production of hormones, absorption of vitamins, production of enzymes, brain function, neurotransmitter performance, and many other needs before it's used as energy or stored as energy for that matter. The very last step that fat would be used for or stored as energy, considering the amount of biochemical reactions that take place just to have fat enter the system and then all of the processes that it does prior, no wonder it doesn't translate to body fat. This is the very last thing the body would do for such a precious nutrient. Same thing as protein. It's a precious nutrient that is used in the body for many, many different reasons. And again, on the contrary, glucose has one function alone. One, that's it, energy. Used, stored, that's it. It's either used or stored. Stored as glycogen, stored as fat. Primary and sole mechanism is energy. And if you overconsume carbohydrates, it's going to be stored as fat. What does bodybuilding tell us? Bodybuilding tells us hormone model is king. Obviously, how do bodybuilders get big, stay big, and stay lean? And obviously, the first thing you're going to say is steroids. Well, yeah, hello, it's a hormone, and they're powerful. But at the end of the day, hormone supplementation kind of promotes this whole point of hormone model. What do they take? Testosterone, anabolics to retain and build muscle, insulin. Surprise, surprise, bodybuilders take insulin when consuming the right nutrients. That insulin is pushing protein into the muscle for muscle rehabilitation. T3 to increase BMR or increase your basal metabolic throughout the day to burn more fat. HGH or human growth hormone to build more satellite cells, the tiny little cells on the outer parts of your muscles. Testosterone helps grow those cells. So there's the beauty of getting bigger, more new cells, growing those new cells. And then IGF-1 for localized growth, insulin growth factor 1. Again, insulin growth factor 1. It is a growth factor within the body that helps grow muscles. Dietary strategy. Do bodybuilders starve themselves? Obviously not. Far from it. They're eating 4 to 6 times a day. Some eat no carbs, some eat a lot of carbs. It depends on the competitor. At the end of the day, they're picking an energy source. And typically bodybuilders are either low to moderate carbohydrates and zero fat or really low fat, or they are eating all fat and no carbohydrates. It's one or the other. But their systems are fixed. They are always in shape. So they have the metabolism that they can pick or choose. Some do. Some do. In my case, I'm someone that would only eat fats and proteins. That's my metabolism. Because I was fat once upon a time, I have the ability to get fat very easily. Now, not so much after I fix my metabolism, but I would venture to guess that most people would kill for a bodybuilder's off-season physique. I mean, they still have abs, they still look great, and they're not starving themselves. Far from it. They're eating multiple times a day. They eat whatever they want, and their mitochondria is consuming that glycogen as much as they work out and build that muscle. They have a lot of places to store the glycogen, and that is the beauty of a system that is working properly. Lastly, sleep and rest. Again, you'll think, oh, well, bodybuilders live in the gym. I don't think you would realize how little they work out. On the right, on the left, on your left, is Dorian Yates in 1993, I think. It's one of his biggest and best shapes. He worked out approximately 3 hours a week to get that physique. Think about that. 3 hours total a week. That's incredible. Why? Again, because when you go to the gym, you break down muscle. And you come home, you eat to give your body the nutrients it needs to build, and then you sleep to rebuild muscle. The gym breaks down muscle, sleep rebuilds muscle. Eating the right diet gives you the building blocks to build that muscle. Again, working out doesn't create the physique. Sleep, rest, and diet does. Only thing the gym does is give you muscle mass to change your BMR slightly, but also give you places to store sugar. My conclusion, as I said, at one point I was 320 pounds. I couldn't buy weight loss. I couldn't figure it out, but I was doing the whole calorie in, calorie out thing. I was thinking if I starved myself, worked out more, I would finally lose weight. But I was eating carbohydrates. I was eating starch, and it wouldn't work. What do? I got rid of carbohydrates, and the weight fell off of me. I purposely made a decision to do less cardio and work out less, and then the weight just came off. I eat as much as I want. I didn't restrict. I was never hungry. If I was hungry, I ate. If I wasn't, I didn't. Simple as that. I ate to the amount of protein I needed and let the fats follow. I ate cheese, whole eggs, butter, oil, cream, steak, hamburger, nuts, peanut butter. And this is the result I got. This is the body I got from eating those foods. However, after truly fixing my metabolism, I can eat anything I want now, pretty liberally too. And so, again, I want you to take away, once upon a time, I was an obese Crohn's disease patient, shitting blood, literally. And after a whole foods diet and years of fixing my metabolism, I've cured Crohn's disease, lost over 120 pounds, and am now 12% body fat, no matter what I do. That's an incredible transition. And it's all because of whole foods. Eat single ingredient, whole food, anti-inflammatory diet, and see how beautiful your body can become and how much energy you get. And that's why I promote the fact of working out, because once your system is operating properly, you have more energy than you know what to do with. You can't get out. You got to get out of the house. You got to go for a walk or something. But that's awesome. And until you get there, don't work out. It doesn't matter. You're going to lose weight by what you eat, not by what you do. You're not fat because you're lazy, and you're not fat because you're gluttonous. You're not eating too much. You're just eating the wrong foods, which is making you eat too much because of the hormone response. It's not your fault. It's the system's fault. It's the what they taught us in the 80s. It's that fault. It's the amount of bread and starch that they shove down our throat and all the stupid processed foods that they make us eat. Not make us eat, but promote. So start eating real whole foods. If God made it or it was alive, eat it. If it has more than a few ingredients, comes in a box or a bag, no way. Hopefully this was worth your time. This was a long one, way longer than I expected. But please like, subscribe, comment below, ask any questions. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Apologize. I've been absent for a couple weeks because I lost my voice. Was really sick for a while. So I'm back in action. Hopefully be doing more videos on a weekly basis or actually every few days if I'm going to be more on target. My name is Todd Derry. This is TD's Fat to Fit. I'll talk to you soon.
Look, they can never keep me down. I'm going, and if I ever fail, just know I'll go.